What's up guys, Max here, back with some more impressions of Injustice 2 and the extended playtime I had with the game. Beyond those first couple of hours I said I did have, there was a couple more days after that and a lot more playtime I got to spend with the game and its roster, so I really wanted to talk about that. The game's current roster, how those characters feel, and what you can expect going forward with Injustice 2. Naturally, the first couple of characters I did gravitate towards were Batman and Superman, so let's quickly talk about them. These are the two characters, probably next to Aquaman, even though I did not play Aquaman in the first Injustice game, that are really similar to their first version counterparts. The stuff that you did with Batman and the stuff that you do with Superman in the previous games are going to be almost identical in this game. Now, I say almost because it's not entirely. Some of the strings that you do are naturally a little bit different. Some of Batman's like back 1-1 button strings, like 1-1 into 2 or 3, are a little bit different and have different unique animations. The combo timing also feels slightly off from before, and overall that's because Injustice feels a little bit faster. There's less block stun within this game now, which is good. It doesn't make the game feel nearly as clunky as the first one. One of the more universal changes in Injustice 2 is that you usually need to use meter or a meter burn to get the combos to go longer or into juggle states and things like that. A small example is Superman. He has this scooping move where he scoops you and tosses you into the air, and it was a natural combo extension from the first Injustice game. But for this one, it's a ender. You scoop them up and he reaches up and grabs you and he knocks you down. And that was a lot different than I remembered, but until I meter burned it, then it acted similar to Injustice 1. Superman was also notorious for a very early forward 2-3 attack string that was insanely powerful, still really good, and is also one of his better strings in this one, but the forward 2 no longer is a mid, now it's a high, so you can duck the beginning part of this string. That is a pretty dramatic change, so you're going to be expecting things like that. Kind of expect how, if those characters got rebalanced and retooled a little bit more beyond the first Injustice, this is how they would feel. Do I still encourage you, if you are picking up Injustice 2 or planning to, playing those characters back in Injustice 1 and practicing the combos? Hell yes, you absolutely should be, because there will be a few of these characters. Now, before I talk about the other two I spent quite a bit of time with, which were Atrocitus and Supergirl, I would like to say that this was the biggest worrying concern I said from the previous video, and I wasn't as worried as I spoke to the developers a little bit more about this issue directly, that we're going to have a lot of similar characters from Injustice 1 moving into Injustice 2. They are going to bring a few back, ones that you would be familiar with, some more popular characters, but I got the overwhelming impression that the whole reason they're doing this is so that they can add new character archetypes and brand new character movesets to other characters amongst the roster. Essentially, this will allow for a bigger character roster in Injustice 2 that we had in Injustice 1, because a lot of them are going to be returning characters from the first game, and they don't have to completely design a brand new character. They kind of have to retool and rebalance them, kind of allowing us to get cooler, bigger, new characters down the road, which is something that's pretty damn awesome. I hope that ends up being the case, and I hope that the Injustice 2 roster ends up being fairly big. We don't have any final say on it, but it looks like it's going to be around 30 characters even at launch, which is not bad at all. Now, the next character is one I got to spend a little bit of time with, but I wasn't super thrilled, and it's Supergirl. Her trait specifically is pretty interesting. Most of the character traits in this game serve a couple of purposes, like Batman's trait, you're able to do a homing lock-on bat if you press down trait, and Supergirl's is specifically for her eye lasers. You can press the neutral trait, up trait, and down trait, and it puts them in specific directions. You can angle them upwards, downwards, or straight forward, or even do jumping lasers, but you can't spam them. You have to wait for the bar to recharge in order to keep shooting eye lasers, and they act as pretty good strings or block strings where you can shoot a low eye laser. But it's not super fast, it can be interrupted, and it does appear that Supergirl might be a more effective keep-away character than a close one, because she has some stumpy limbs. It is kinda hard to get combo started with her, especially against other characters like Atrocitus that I'm about to talk about that have really long-reaching, like, combo attacks. It was kind of tough with Supergirl to get in and do that damage that you want to, and it felt like she's meant for more of a ranged game, but who knows? As I was asking about this stuff, they said it's very very early, and it's very likely that all of this is going to be very different in the near future. Now, Atrocitus, however, is an absolute monster. He's the Red Lantern character that's amongst the roster right now, and he is freaking ridiculous. A lot of fun. Imagine characters like kind of like Superman, where he had his extremely powerful ground game. Atrocitus has a really good ground game, but he lacks like a lot of mobility, and he lacks projectiles. He does have this scooping move that causes like a blood grab across the entire stage that you can pull people forwards, and he does have his blue-ass cat. I can't remember the name of him right now, but it is extremely effective because while the cat is out, you can actually have him follow up for your strings that might normally be unsafe. The cat can come out and make the strings safe and allow you to keep pressure. Essentially, when Atrocitus has the cat out, if you start blocking, it feels like you're going to be blocking for upwards of 10 seconds. It is pretty rough, which is why things like push block are only 1 bar in Injustice 2, I believe. So things like that are going to be very good and very useful, especially in situations like this. And I do think that's going to be a lot better. Give us a lot of bar to work with. In games like Guilty Gear, that's actually a really good thing because you have so many different things to spend your meter on. And if those things are mobility tools and stuff like that, it'll be really cool because characters like Atrocitus just don't stop, it feels like. He doesn't have many low attacks. He doesn't have many overheads. He has a lot of mids, and usually at the end of his strings you'll find an overhead or a low, but regardless, it didn't matter. He has such good range on some of his attacks and some of those strings that he seemed really, really damn good. Really fun character. I picked him up relatively fast and was able to figure him out pretty quick, while Supergirl took a little bit of time. The other character that seemed a little weird was Gorilla Grodd. Not many folks were able to pick him up and do a lot of really cool things very fast. Gorilla Grodd seemed kind of tough to use, so I'm anxious to see what they do with that character based on the feedback and watching people play as these characters as Injustice 2 moves forward. But that's about it for my impressions of the roster right now. Didn't see a lot of Aquaman, and I think that's because he's pretty dang similar to the first game, and I'm kind of curious where he's got to spend his meter to extend those combos. Either way, that about concludes my impressions of Injustice 2 from E3. Still super excited about this game. Really want to see what they do with other characters, if they're going to bring back characters. Is Dr. Fate going to be making it into the game? That looks like there might be a good chance, but I'm anxious. I want to see more, and I can't wait till they show more and let us know what's going to be happening exactly with that competitive element and how they're going to be splitting apart the leveled up characters to the base characters and how we can play with them online. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching and hanging out. I'll be back with more impressions of some of the fighting games I did play at E3, and as always, more Injustice 2 information as soon as it's available. I do appreciate you guys subscribing if you're looking forward to Injustice news, and like I said, I'll try to cover it as soon as it comes up. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.